Welcome to LTTtv. My name is Menelik Luke. We're going to be covering changes during the pandemic today, which is going to be sponsored by Luke's Tailored Tutoring. To preface this, in 2014, we started our online tutoring portion of the company. And we had a lot of pushback, a lot of doubt, because traditionally, when we work with students, it's in person. The students bring their problem set. The educator walks them through the problem set and ensures that they understand how to answer those kinds of questions when the educator is not with them. Now, fast forward to March of 2020, and I choose March because that is when all business owners should know at that time that their business is about to be affected, especially if you're a customer-facing business. For our company, we knew we would be affected because regulations stated there is no seeing clients in person. And that is basically the bread and butter of our business. That was just before March break, where students, that's like spring break, and students get a week off school at that point. Then they were told, you know what, after March break is done, you're going to get another week off, because we were still trying to figure out, what is going on during this pandemic. Now, that extra week turned out to some students not going back to school for the remainder of the year, which would have taken them to June of 2020. And some students had a hybrid program where they went to school for a couple days of the week, and then the rest of the days they were online. Now, having collected data from 2014 till that present day in 2020, I knew the effective way of how to tutor pretty much any student at that point, because we had been doing it for years. So eventually I made the decision to move all the tutoring sessions online. Now, this is important to note because previously there was a lot of pushback to even do just some tutoring sessions online. But we were able to ensure to the parents that the quality of the sessions wouldn't be changed. And ultimately, we were doing this for the safety of everyone. So that also helped with this transition as well. Now, I also reached out to some of the teachers that were teaching in the actual schools. And they were also trying to learn and adapt to the different changes during this pandemic. Some of the difficulties they had were students weren't even signing in. So keeping track of students was hard to do. Students who didn't understand the work, before they could just walk up to the teacher in the class, and now they have to book a time slot, and no fault of the teacher. Students felt like they were almost in university at this point, and pretty much they kind of were, and the teachers could only do so much to ensure that they were still felt like they were being supported, that the students felt like they were being supported. Now, this was a very important conversation for me to have with the teachers, because I was able to eliminate that from my company, because number one, we didn't have one educator working with so many students at once. And number two, because of that, the students could reach out to the tutors even if they didn't have a book session. And the tutors had the capacity to help the student. So we're fast forwarding to August of 2020. Now, September is typically when students go back to school. So August is where you see an uptick in online tutoring or tutoring sign up in the previous years. What happened was unexpected but fortunate for us, where we saw more students signing up, and word of mouth goes around that we're able to help students online. And at this point, this was the only option. To the point where we had contract deals with other tutoring companies, because most tutoring companies have infrastructure. They have a center or they have an office space, and never thought about online tutoring before. So through this contract, we do seminars for them, which may sound counterintuitive because they are our competitors, but realistically, there's no way for us to tutor every single student that our competitors have. And most importantly, the students come first. So we want to make sure that they can get help, professional help from another tutoring company. So how did we progress during the pandemic? Number one, I put together a 2-week plan. 2-week plan because by the time we heard an announcement, you only had that Saturday and Sunday to make the change. So typically you would hear an announcement about the pandemic on a Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday to make the change. So with the 2-week plan, you knew that, okay, a typical announcement would be within the next 2 to 3 weeks. So if you kept creating 2-week plan, you could almost stay ahead of the game. Part 2 was implementing this 2-week plan, the agility of implementing the plan. So as a business owner, if you have staff, creating the plan isn't good enough. Having your staff understand what the plan is and how to implement it was also a very key. So as business owners, to stay ahead, create that plan, let the staff know, stay ahead of the game.